Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I am your host, Moldy Joe, and as you can see, I am surrounded by some of my moldy creations. I've done one episode before this one and covered how to do eyes. It was kind of a quick pass at making a video, and I wanted to hold off on making another one until I could get more established. So I built myself a little recording studio, a place where I could do some good recordings and show you guys some of the stuff that I make and how I make it. I'll be showing you how to take something like this, make it look like something like that, and then finally like that. I'll be taking you through some of the processes, showing you some of the tools that I use, and on this episode in particular, I was going to cover how to make those extra creepy looking shiny chompers. In future videos, I'll be showing you guys how I make some of the other cool stuff. Depending on how many subscribers we get, we might start making some really crazy stuff. I was even thinking I might just start making the stuff you guys order from the website, moldycreations.com. If you place an order on there, that means that I still have to make it, which takes 4 to 5 weeks. And if you guys want, maybe I start making the stuff that you order right here on the show and you can see it in process before it arrives in your mailbox. So stick around, guys. I have a lot of big plans for the show. I want to make it fun. I want to make it interesting, and your feedback is going to be really important to me. Before me, I've got a nice metal tray. I've got some surgical gloves. I've got some pliers, alcohol to sanitize the. Once you're sure that you have thoroughly sanitized your pliers, go ahead and dig right in. Once you've got yourself a nice set of teeth, you're ready to move on to step 3. Before you can really get started, you're going to need a few things. Clay being number 1. This is Sculpting. Sculpting is the brand. The product is polymer clay. Here's what polymer clay looks like before you've done anything to it, fresh out of the box. It's still too difficult to work with in this state, so we're going to have to condition the clay, as it's called, to make it softer and easier to work with. You gotta have clay to make teeth. So here is the type of clay that I like to use. It's called white translucent. It is from the same brand, Sculpting. It is still polymer clay, but this is their Primo line. It comes a little bit harder. It's a little bit more difficult to work with, but it's really the best product to get the most realistic looking teeth. So I highly recommend Primo. I've got some cake tools, as they're called, and they have different little metal balls at the end of each side, varying in different sizes for different purposes. A lot of people use these to do cake decorating, but I'm going to use it to do some clay decorating. It's always good to have a little knife. It's always good to have a really big knife. So it's time to start conditioning the clay, making it softer, that way it's easier to work with. And first I'm going to start with this one. This is the Sculpting in beige. It's pretty much the only color that I use for just about everything except for the teeth and the eyes, which is what this one does. I'm going to go ahead and run it through the pasta machine so I can use it. It just flattens it all out. There's different settings on here for different thicknesses, how thick you want this to roll out. Pasta machines are about 20 to 30 bucks. Average, eBay, Amazon. If you find a pasta machine that's like $80, I've tried those. They're not any better. They're literally like the same thing with a different name on it. And they're all pretty much kind of junk. I've gone through at least 4 of these things by now. They just kind of fall apart after a while, especially if you go through as much clay as I do. This is an 8-pound box, and I go through sometimes 2 of these boxes in a month, usually 1.5. I put some affiliate links, and you guys can check out all the stuff that I'm using down in the links below. That should do it. I'm going to go ahead and take this, rip it in half. I like to start with making everything into a ball. I can push it and form it with my hands a little bit, making it even softer than the clay machine did, making it easier to work with. I'm just gonna roll out one of those old school kindergarten snakes. If anybody used to play with Play-Doh, probably made a lot of Play-Doh snakes. The reason I'm starting with the beige clay instead of going straight to the white translucent is because we gotta have somewhere to put our teeth once we have them. So this is gonna be the gums, and I'm gonna just use this glass as an example so you guys can really get a good feel for how I make the teeth and how I place them. I think that'll work for what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing this around the glass like so, using my thumb to push the clay down. And the clay is plenty sticky to hold itself to the glass without any effort. Make sure that's good and flattened out on there. I don't want the clay to be too thick. That can cause it to crack when you want to go and bake it later. That looks pretty good. That's step one. And step two is to grab this chunk of this white translucent, run it through the pasta machine. So I use the big old knife for this guy. Cut myself a big chunk of the block here, not too thick. It's still got to go through the machine. Nice little chunk. And roll it through the clay machine. Once it's nice and softened up through the clay machine, roll it up into a little ball and pushing in on it nice and hard while I'm rolling it into a ball. And that looks good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start rolling out some snakes again. So the thicker that the worm you make is, the bigger the teeth will be. And I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting my teeth. And you're gonna cut back probably just over 1/2 inch. Just like that, slightly at an angle so that they come out looking like this. And once you get there, I just take them in my fingers and I pinch them like that. And then push the end of it flat like a tooth would look instead of rounded. Give them a little final touch, and that's one tooth. When you cut them at an angle, you can use them and make like a canine fang type tooth, like this. It's cut flat, you can use a cake tool, push down on it. Start making it look like a molar. You know, something really gross looking. So, you got yourself a nice big pile of teeth. Now what do you do with them? Well, it's time to start sticking them in the gums. For this part, I use the back of a paintbrush, skinny one, and I just kind of come in here at an angle, work it in there, rocking it around, and make a nice little opening for the tooth to sit. Grab one of these little bad boys and pop it in there. The reason I don't bake the teeth and then try and stick them in the clay is it doesn't work very well. It pushes the clay out of the way. It doesn't really push in a desirable way. And also, once you get them in here, I can still maneuver them or wiggle them or change them up a little bit if I have to, if I feel the need. But at this point, I'm just going to start putting random spots in here for teeth to go. Pop those in there. That's looking pretty good. This is an old paintbrush that I have that broke down, but I use it to shape the gums around the teeth, kind of like how real gums are. They don't look like this. This is too smooth. There's no rough edges. So I'm just going to use the paintbrush and kind of do it like a stippling. And I'm using the edge of the brush to really help form the gum around the shape of the root. And you can push really hard and get some really good divots in there, or kind of go softer if you don't want them to look quite as gnarly. And if you want to make it look like there's a tooth that fell out, I just start adding a couple extra divots to the hole. That starts looking pretty gross, but then again, when you come through with the brush and you start pushing around and forming the shape around where the hole is, that's when it really starts looking good. When I start running into an issue where I'm popping the paintbrush in here and the clay is kind of coming away from the cup, it's a good time to come through with the paintbrush and push it down. Let's add a few more happy little teeth, shall we? Let's make a nasty little molar. Oh, that looks great. I love it when the clay naturally kind of splinters up a little bit, making natural looking cracks. There you have it, a nice toothy brush glass. That'll help remind the kiddos to brush their teeth every night, especially once I'm done painting it, which I'll cover in another video. That is the secret to the moldy teeth. Same method that I used to make this wine glass. Also these creeper sippers or mason jars. And it's also how I made the teeth for this super sweet latex mask. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Moldy Lair. Hope you guys had fun. Stay tuned for some future content. Let me know in the comments below what kind of stuff you want to see me make. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Remember, do art, not drugs.
Or just do both.